So the other thing Denny is widely known for is his innate ability to understand and ask the right questions. He will tell you listening enhanced or questions based, listening enhanced. And so when he's meeting with sellers and buyers, and he meets with a ton of them, right? They're going to throw out objections. And Denny's innate ability is how to overcome those objections to get them to the goal, which is to sign a listing or to buy a home, and that they're comfortable with it and they can move forward, right? And be happy with their decision. So Denny, his wife is Kristen Cole, one of the top 5 agents in Keller Williams as a whole. They have expansion teams across the country. So who is sitting in front of you today and who's going to be sharing his knowledge alongside John McLeod is this caliber of expert in the real estate industry. And because he has an expansion team here and he loves us and he was a bowl coach, he's here to, every single month to share wisdom with you all. And this is also being on Zoom in the Naples office. So Denny, we're thankful for you being here. We appreciate your time. And okay, it is being recorded, so that's fantastic. Who's got the mouse? I don't want that to be. There we go. I got it. Got it. There you go. So without further ado, Denny Grimes. Take the floor, guys.
So I guess the parting Cassie joke is she's the only one that I've ever seen that could make a grown sniper cry. Bruce, thanks again for having us down. So how many of you guys have struggles having conversations with clients? They ask you questions and kind of stub your toe, or worse, you hit a brick wall and not know where to go. Everyone. And I was just telling Denny before we started here, I just finished reading a book called The Talent Code. I don't know how to hold this. It's fantastic. The Talent Code. What we do with scripting, Denny leads a scripting call for our team every morning. He leads a national call that he allows me to sit in and help him with on Thursdays, which we'll make sure you guys all have a link to. There really is, I brought up on the board, there really is a magic code in having conversations with people. Now, the only one that is not allowed to answer what the magic pill is Kristen, because she's on the calls with us every day. Hopefully make it a little bit easier for you to go through the system of handling objections with people. Now, if somebody gives you an objection, what's your first reaction? What is that? Punch it. Punch it, yeah. Especially in this market. No, I'm not going to spend $7 million for a $2 million house. What's your first natural reaction?
Okay, bye.
Okay, okay, bye. Okay, challenge them. That's, you know, you and I are very much the same like that, Becky. I challenge them all the time.
Hang on, if you're new in real estate and if you're married, you understand objections, right? Science is the same. So
yeah, you know, that's a great point, because we talk a lot about on our calls is that when you're dealing with clients, it's a lot like a relationship. Okay? Because it is, right? And if you get defensive at home with your husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, what happens? Do they get defensive back? Doesn't go well. So we're not here to be marriage counselors, although some of the stuff we talk about we probably take home and make some conversations a little bit easier. So give me a typical objection that somebody has. Shout it out.
Where will I go?
Where will I go?
Man, I understand. I hear that a lot.
if we get this plan, this is kind of even, right? I see teams being formed. This is
I like that.
NFL playoff. The Bucks are in the playoffs. We're going to be beat.
They'll be playing the Patriots in a couple weeks.
So can you guys be on my team over here? You guys can be on John's team. Fair enough.
Perfect.
You don't mind a little competition, do you?
Hey.
All right. Cool. All right. So go on.
All right. So where am I going to go, and how did I respond?
Buy up, sell up.
No, I respond. I respond. I hear that a lot.
How did you respond?
Yeah, no,
How should I respond?
Right. How get agent hat off? Okay, counselor hat on. Where am I going to go? Man, I know how you feel. I hear that a lot. What did I just do?
Acknowledge.
Thank you. There's your first T, and this is where every single agent fails until they understand it. And it took me a year and a half to learn how to spell acknowledge. Acknowledge it. What happens when you acknowledge somebody's pain?
You let them know that you heard them.
Okay, that you understand where they're coming from, right? Does that put you on the same, build a little trust? Okay, you're getting an ally. In relationships, is trust important? Okay. If you're trying to win a conversation, trust doesn't matter. The challenge is when you're working with clients, it's a relationship. If you're trying to win, they are going to feel like they have been beaten. And what's the first thing in Keller Williams? Win-win or no deal, right? So we have to get on the side. First thing you do is acknowledge, man, you know what? I hear that all the time. Now, next step, Denny.
Well, I'm going to just stay right there with it for a second.
All right.
Be careful you don't over acknowledge,
Great point.
because then you're helping them dig a deeper hole than they need to dig. Like, oh, I can't, well, I hear that all the time, I don't blame you, I feel the same way. It's just like, again. So the less you say about it, the better. And again, the other thing is, okay, now we get to the other one, those people can get. So let's see how many ways you can acknowledge. We'll just go back and forth. So when someone says something, how can you acknowledge? By saying what? What?
That's understandable.
Okay.
What's another one? I get that. What's another one?
I hear you.
I understand.
You're so right. Good point.
What if you're from Canada? So there's a lot of ways you guys can acknowledge it. The important thing for that is when you get to the next step, you have to be able to say, be able to acknowledge more than just saying the same thing. Sometimes, particularly in mirrored and matching, you guys, it could just be, obviously not on the phone, if you're meeting with somebody, saying, yeah, I did that. You got a little nod, right? So, awesome. Go to step 2. This is the most widely missed step there is on the planet. So
There is no doubt about that, because most people will go from one A to the next A and then we'll skip our second step. Would isolate.
spell that one, John.
Nice.
Isolate.
Isolate.
Sounds like something we get at Starbucks.
No, there's 2 T's in that one. Isolate. And it was really, go ahead. I know you're ready to talk. You can see.
No, stop.
I have a very quick brief I use to remember that. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? You need something to remember that step. That step is so important. So, man, I know how you feel. Find a place to go. Other than that, what else is keeping you from moving forward? Simple question.
Sorry, guys, the sound, I apologize.
They don't have sound.
We don't see it. So why is it important to isolate? Start with you guys on this side of the
You can move on.
Okay, so you can move on. This side.
Well, first of all, in Marco here in your marketplace in Collier County, is it possible somebody has more than one concern?
Sure.
And so what are the rules? What are the rules for people expressing their concerns? Rule number 1 is there are no rules.
Rule number 2.
They'll come out in random order. So, hey, look, I mean, I'd sell, but I don't know where I'm going to go. So you're going to say what? And then understand. Say it again.
What else is keeping you from moving forward?
Right. Okay. So then what might someone else say?
Money, the cost.
Prices are going up.
Prices are too high.
All right, prices are too high, and you're gonna say? Go back.
Okay, they are going up. Yeah, they're going up.
So you go back to the acknowledge,
Yeah.
yes, okay, and again, and notice that I have this here. One of the things I've learned in the last year and a half when I'm teaching this is question-based listening enhanced. Listening is the silent skill. It is the one thing that most people are not doing, including experienced real estate agents. You're not listening to the words they say, and so when they say, well, okay, so you say, well, I don't know where I'm gonna go, prices are too high, I'm writing down the exact same words. They are giving you, basically, if you listen, they are gonna give you the key to the Rubik's Cube by using their words, right? So they say, well, your prices are too high. You say, what?
Understandable.
And then when you go back, step 2,
Well, besides that, what else is keeping you?
okay, what could it
Maybe
be?
not.
What's another reason?
The numbers last year were even lower than this year.
I'm sorry?
The numbers have gone up even from last year. They keep going up or not. Everybody thinks we're having.
So then the numbers are going up. So I'm writing numbers are going up. Does anybody have an earthly idea what that means? What does numbers going up mean?
They're going to make more money. When they
Yeah,
cash out.
yeah, that's been what it needs to have.
Exactly, because I don't know what numbers going up mean. Are you talking about prices? You talking about what? So the numbers are going up. And so that's number 3. And you're gonna say what?
Anything else?
Well, yes, okay. Now you don't have to acknowledge everything. And you want to be careful anything else. When you say anything else, it's almost like, you freaking kidding me? Is there anything else like that? You want to let them, okay, well, all right, what else? Anything else, right? And then what could be something else?
I like where I'm living.
Okay,
Why are we here in the first place?
I got that. The bottom line here, the isolation part is you guys cannot move on until they cry uncle.
It could be 2 or 3 things, or you could have a list of 15.
Can you ask them what their concerns are? And just say, can we just talk about your concerns?
Sure, all right.
Is that
so-
a bad idea?
Well, that's what we're kind of doing, isn't it?
Well, you are, but instead of just going all like a ping pong thing, can you just say, well, okay, when you get to 2, say, okay, let's look at your concerns and let's look at the pros and cons.
Okay, so let's talk about that just a little bit. Okay, there's more than one way to play a chess match. The way I like to play a chess match is I like to have all the pieces, everything on the table at one time. What'll happen is if you start addressing the issues they bring up, there's a very, very strong. Have you ever had a conversation where you started to say something and then you got interrupted, let's say, and then maybe you didn't get back to that point, and they never asked you about what were you going to say? So the danger in addressing maybe a couple of the points, and then is that you may not go back to those. You may not go back and empty out basically everything else that's bothered them. The other thing is this: how do you know which ones to address? If they give you 4, how do you know which ones to address?
So Denny, can I ask a question on the first part? If you don't finish 1 and 2 and get them to, like you said, cry uncle, the very end of the conversation is going to sound something like this. Well, Becky, thanks for your time. We're going to think about it. We'll let you know tomorrow. That's how the conversation ends because you haven't addressed the real concern.
It doesn't get complicated sometimes when you have a couple, 2 people there, and maybe one's talking and one of them isn't talking. Which one do you have to be more cognizant of? The quiet one is a silent killer, right? And so you have to have. So the bottom line is you want to make sure you get them all on the table, which is my recommended way of doing it. So now you have 4. You have the 4th one. Say, well, it's like the movie's a hassle, and I'm going to have the surgery next month. And you say what?
Okay, let's talk about that.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. You have to get them to uncle. You have to get to the center that that's the real problem. You're going to ask them one more time. Okay, I'm taking notes. I want to fully understand what you're talking about. What else is keeping you from taking advantage of a white hot market? Sooner or later, like the Jets winning a football game, sooner or later, they will get to what?
That's it. If you can solve these, we can move forward.
Now you're at the, now you've got uncle. Now what? So you follow the steps, you acknowledge, you've isolated, then you have to answer. Now you've got 4 items or 14 different items. Which one do you answer? You made notes, you've got, I trust you've made the notes. How do you then dissect it? It's real, there's a real simple procedure. If you're taking notes, write this down. When you're in doubt, ask. So how would you ask? Because there was 4 different items there that you basically had a concern about. And it all started from like, you know what, I'd sell it, I don't know where I'm gonna go. What's the question that is begging to be asked right now? What do you really want to know? What?
What's the one thing keeping you from?
Or what would it take you to go through with this?
Well, we kind of asked that question, right? I mean, they gave you 4 different things. If you can solve these 4 issues, and I could win the lottery.
If I can solve these, will you sign a check?
You could, yes. However, I would rather not have to solve 4 issues.
What's
I mean, I have to solve all 4.
All right, now, okay, so this is really what we want to know. So anybody here single or wish they were?
That's 2 different questions.
Well, the first time, Bruce mentioned I'm married, our anniversary's coming for 6th anniversary, right? And the first time, and if you guys are married, let me tell you, you are a believer in flower, right? I promise you, you had to be a believer in flower. Because first time I asked Kristen to go out, it was a big fat no. And so I had to follow kind of a model, I didn't know really what it was. I said, okay, so you said you didn't want to go out, is there a particular reason? And then, and then it was, believe me, when she gave me the reasons, the acknowledgement was a little difficult, right? And
By the way, this.
I want to hear. I want to know the answer.
Kristen telling this story is a little bit different vantage point. It's-
yeah, so the bottom line was, after several things, then I said, okay, well, let me ask you, which one is the main reason why? So you really want to find out, okay, I understand, which one, you've given me 4 different reasons. What's floating to the top for you right now? Now, that is the exact way I would ask it. You're asking in curiosity, and what's really cool about this, and Keller Williams, in Bowl, they don't even teach scripts anymore. They don't even let us use the word scripts. You know that, Bruce? It's conversations. And so what's really fun about this is that the model is the same. It's kind of like doing the dance steps. The model is the same. You can have some fun and get into curiosity. Well, what's the one thing that's floating to the top? And so guess what they might do? They might give you the one thing. So then you would say, well, if that issue kind of melted away, would that minimize these other issues? Guess what? You might not have to address them all.
Okay.
So that's the importance of isolation answering. And then the close part, remember, is that if you don't have a close, there's no sense of having a conversation.
So you know what, Denny? I just realized there's one objection. We were talking about a seller. There's one objection that we get a ton. Nobody said it. Do you not get this objection down here on Marco?
Here's one that you get. I'm meeting with 2 other realtors today.
Okay.
All right, hang on just a second. Will you write that down?
Yep, right.
Write that down because we're going to do this in a little competition. You guys over here are going to handle that objection. Follow along.
There's another one that I'm really surprised.
Let's see if they come up with it. Hang on.
The objection, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it a buyer or seller?
Seller objection.
All right.
Piggybacking on the Becky, I already have a realtor.
We'll write that down. How about my team? Come on, my team. What could be a seller objection you guys hear a lot?
Commission.
Hey, oh, that's the one I'm looking for.
What was it?
Commission.
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
people,
that-
oh, I see. Was that like your charge? You don't charge more than that? All right, so a fee, commission, okay, got it.
How about overpay? I want to wait till the market goes down a little bit, so I don't have to overpay.
Now, is that buyer or seller?
Well, if I'm selling,
Seller buying.
I got, the market I sell is the market I buy in.
Okay, you got
But
that?
I want to wait for a better, I want to wait for a better deal.
Sell high, buy low.
Oh, that's where my,
That's easy.
Yeah. Cause that's.
So what's interesting here is what I like to do is I like to give you the anatomy of the thought process, which is much more important than the words. And one of the best ways to do this is we'll have this competition. Remember, in our way that we do it, I don't know how you guys do yours during the week, we do all questions. So when we do this role play, for example, you're going to give them one and they'll give you one and we'll walk you through it. If you make a statement, then I want you, everyone has been born with a natural beeper, a buzzer. Let me hear your. How about yours? Okay, so if somebody, yeah, I would change the battery in that one. So if somebody makes a statement, I want you to do that. Now, why is that? Because there's power in questions, right? Now, there's good questions and great questions. I've done this before. I don't know if I've done this here. So, yes, I did do it. So I think I maybe used you in one of them. So a good question is when I learn something. For example, your name is
Karen,
Karen. You were here in my class. I think I did this before. So Karen, what month were you born?
April.
April. So what's interesting is that is a good question because I learned something, April. I think she knew that. It wasn't a great question because she didn't learn anything. Now watch her reaction to a slightly different question. So Karen, if you could be born in any month of the year, it can't be April. You have a magic wand. What month would you choose to be born in?
June,
Okay. And why June?
warmer weather.
Okay. Now, there was really no difference in the way she answered the question. The why was that?
It's not a very difficult question.
Not one you get asked a
It's
lot.
not- No, true, but it's not something I'm making a real decision on.
Ah, okay, got it.
It's
So,
not literal.
so that's when she said June, normally you'll see somebody think a little bit. And what's interesting about this, you guys, you've been through bold before. There's the bold law says logic makes you think what? Emotion makes you act. In the marketplace right now, and we talked about the market a second ago, and I can tell you what's going to happen next if you want to know. But the everybody kind of wants to know what's going to happen in the marketplace, right? I'm making a point here.
great question. You were on a great question.
When you learn something.
Yep. When you learn something about yourself is where you were going.
I'll come back to that in a second. I had a really great point there.
See what happens when you get derailed and why you go through the first two steps to completion, because then you don't remember where you left off.
Yeah, sometimes I get off on an exit. I'll think of that in a second. So why don't we just demonstrate, John, which we can take any one of these here you want. Okay,
Okay.
You pick the objection.
All right.
And on your team, and my team will answer it following the model. So, right, what you guys have to decide to do, who's going to be the person handling.
And who would like to be the seller?
Bruce. Yeah, Bruce can't do it, no.
He's liable to start crying.
Nominate Karen.
All right, we got to take it.
Me?
We got to. Karen's the voluntold.
I just got my license, literally, the end of the month.
They're perfect. That's exactly the best time to work.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
All right, the objection then is what?
We get two other interviews this afternoon.
Okay. So Karen, and you can phone a friend, this is your team. You can have, let's take about 30 or 45 seconds. talk to your team, get some advice on how we're gonna handle this.
So, I guess you could say something like, I can solve your objections right now, here now, you can sign the listing contract. And, you know, you cancel the other 2 agents. That's what we want to do. I'm not covered it.
Sorry, I'm late.
Because normally these
Yeah.
situations, if someone-
You're in the hot seat, good place.
So there's just something-
That's your team joining in.
Our sign for it.
Now,
What about the commission?
We've already contacted the position. We've already talked, if they're talking about moving their agents, we've done our sort of.
Yeah.
list of-
Their first day, and they're-
so let me just give you a little. You guys are right. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? Figure that out first. Don't worry about handling the objection. What pieces are missing from the puzzle? That'll give you the line of questions you should find out before you, this is not like handle the objection and move on. This is getting into the brain of, they're gonna interview 2 other agents, right? So if you have,
Do you ask them?
well, what do you want to know?
Who are you making?
When you make a mental list of how you want to go, now you've got your strategy, now you're gonna move your chess pieces based on the answers you get. Okay, so, you ready?
All right, Kristen is our seller.
Yeah, you're ready. So, here's the model, and so, Jeff, you have your phone? Can you time, for 3 minutes
Can I what?
on your phone?
Timer for Kristen. Oh, yeah, it's your team. You don't want to go.
Sorry, I got it.
You got it? All right. We got a 3-minute timer. Kristen, you're the seller. You just gave the objection. We have 2 more interviews this afternoon.
Can I ask who you're meeting with?
All right, now, can I
Sure.
slow down?
Okay. Oh. Okay, thanks, guys. You guys really didn't help me out too much. I understand you need to shop.
No, I know that's not what you're really thinking, right?
Yeah, well, no.
So I say, no, okay. Now you're gonna isolate.
So what agents are you seeing? It could be somebody I know, maybe I can get, you know.
So the isolation question generally begins with other than that.
Other than that,
Other
Mrs.
than
Lincoln, how was the play?
I got you.
So other than that, is there any other reason why you're not selecting the higher lead today?
You got it.
No?
Denny, I love these are from the old days scripts, the embedded command, hire me. I
So
love,
Kristen, is there any
Those are
other
smart.
reason why we wouldn't hire her today, other than the 2 agents we have this afternoon?
No, I just wanted to interview the other agents first and see what they have to say.
Okay.
What would they have to say that I haven't?
I don't know, I haven't thought about that.
That is a great question.
Oh, except I didn't acknowledge. Mhm. Okay, I get what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. What do you need to hear?
I'm not really sure. Just gonna wait and see to hear what they have to say.
All right, I get that. When are you meeting with them?
I have one this afternoon and one tomorrow morning.
All right, fabulous. How about I follow up with you tomorrow this afternoon?
How's that?
Okay, great.
Okay, and so when you follow up, yeah, I went ahead and listed one of the other agents.
Okay, how'd your meetings go? What do you think about the other 2 agents?
They were great. I hired Joe Schmo.
Why'd you pick up Joe Schmo for me?
So how much time is that right
We got 40 seconds.
there? Okay, so let's reverse it, smarty pants. So now it's reversed. And so who's handling over there?
I reversed the whole thing. I got you.
Okay,
Who's
Who
gonna do it?
who wants to handle that? I have 2 meetings this afternoon.
Fine.
Got it?
2 meetings this afternoon.
No,
They
said that to you.
Okay.
So you ready? So somebody over here be the seller. Be the seller.
Keith?
Keith, you're the seller.
So.
Yeah, I've got two, he's got two meetings this afternoon.
Oh, you're having 2 meetings this afternoon.
I do, two pretty good agents, and you're obviously very good. You're in the top 3 in the marketplace right now.
Oh, well, that's understanding. Well, so you need to talk to them about that you're looking for an agent.
Was there an acknowledgement there?
I said, that's understanding.
Okay, got it. And then, all right, where's your isolation?
So what else are you looking for in your agent that would stop you from hiring me right now?
I'm looking at all the opportunities that the other agents present as far as marketing the property and getting it sold quickly and getting the highest value for the property.
Well, that's of course what most sellers are looking for in selling their property. Besides Keller Williams, what other agencies are you looking at?
I'd like to keep that to myself right now.
Okay, well, let me just extol you on the several different platforms and marketplaces.
Where's your buzzer?
That Keller Williams.
Buzzer,
have
buzzer.
Over the
Come on.
agencies.
Yeah,
Okay.
You can't make a statement.
You made a statement. Let me extol you.
Oh.
That's a statement.
Oh, I
Questions.
can't? Oh.
Questions
okay.
only.
Because you know what, you know why? Because now you're selling.
Now I'm selling.
Yep, remember the digging heels in at the
Okay.
beginning? That's exactly the reaction.
Yes.
Can I try one? Are we still?
You did, all right,
Okay.
so.
Let me ask you, sir, are you a busy man?
You ask my wife, and she would tell you I'm not too busy.
Because would you like me to save you some time?
I got time.
Okay, understandable. We could. I don't know what I can say.
So
What were the 2 objections that came up with? Marketing and higher price. Right? Did you have anything else besides marketing and higher price?
No, I want to get the most I can on how they're going to market it and get it done quickly.
And I hear that all the time. If we could show you that we can, obviously we've shown you marketing, we can show you that marketing is going to guarantee you most likely highest price in the marketplace. Would you allow me to cancel those other appointments for you and save you some time?
Well, if you were that person that I had a schedule for tomorrow morning, would you want me to cancel you?
If I didn't have a chance of getting the listing, absolutely.
So I think I'm gonna give them a chance to make their presentation.
Okay. So,
Good talk. That is good, Keith.
Now, see, the thing that I like about what Keith is doing is he's trying to control the conversation
Yeah.
by asking questions. See what he did as a seller? He came in and started asking me questions. How many of you came on that? You start answering the questions. He or she who asks the most questions and the best questions will always win.
so when should you have found out basically that they're interviewing other agents? Before you went to the appointment or after?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is, if you want to know my blank, and again, there's more than one way, it would be something like this. I'm going to go back to you. Okay, you're being a pretty good seller. So, okay, so let me ask you, you got 2 other people you want to interview?
Yes.
That's awesome. So let me ask you, what criteria are you going to use to select the agent representative?
Well, I mean, I'm looking for the right fit, and I gotta see what they present to me and their fit for selling my property. It's pretty nice, and you've already complimented me how nice this place is, so I just want to make sure I got the right fit, that we can work together and get this property sold for the highest value and its marketing properly.
And so you mentioned several things there, which I need some clarification. You said fit 4 different times. What does fit mean to you?
Then I know that I have a trusted working relationship with somebody, that they hear what my wife and I are looking to have in an agent representing us. And, you know, I use the word fit because it has to fit or it doesn't work.
Okay, is fit more important than the money you put at the end of your pocket at the end of the closing?
Well, that I'm getting both. I want the fit and the money.
Okay, and so how will you determine who's a fit?
It's usually a really good gut feel that I have after meeting with somebody. Got a good feeling about you. You're pretty good. And what you present is pretty good. I want to look at the other two and evaluate them and make my decision based upon that.
Awesome, I appreciate that. And so let me ask you, what would you have to hear right now, you and your wife, to move forward with me and to save your time and not be with the other agents you have no intention of hiring?
What's the value that you're going to put on the property right now? And what was your commission?
Well, okay, so are you saying that you're gonna, based on what I have to say on value and commission, you'll make a decision to hire me without going through the other interviews?
I think it all would come, the process of making a decision would help.
Okay, so would it be fair to say I've passed the fit test so far?
Absolutely.
So then it really gets into the practicality as far as what you put in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
So what if I let you decide whatever you think is fair? Would you be ready to move forward with me today?
Repeat that.
I'll let you, what price do you want in your property?
Gee, I'd like to get even more than what we established.
Well, we haven't established anything because I don't establish prices. I set expectations. I don't set prices. So what's your expectation in the marketplace?
Well, it's a pretty crazy market for what you just told me. And the sellers are getting sometimes double, triple what they paid even a year or two ago.
And so what would that number look like to you?
Oh, be big.
Oh, big.
It's really the market is going to determine that. I mean, I think we have a pretty nice property here, and you had said that, based upon your opinion of the property, that we did buy it at the right time, and that the market was going to have a higher value. So, I mean, can you explain to me how if you were to list it, that you're going to, if there's multiple offers, how you're going to get me the highest and best price for it?
So you guys, I know that, for example, you guys cannot get bored with this. I promise you, he's not bored because this is his property, right? You guys have to stay with me. When you play Monopoly, it is not like an easy game. Chess is not like over a few minutes. Carefully asking questions, triangulating them. Now he's moving away from me just a little bit, right? I do not write this down. Do not set prices. You set expectations.
I already read it.
Because as soon as you set the price, and somebody else goes set a higher price, and you lose.
Right.
You should start out, if you're going to listing a book, would you start out by asking them what the expectations are? I mean, you've got this at this point of the conversation, but I've done not many listing appointments, but a couple, and that's how I start out. Because what do you think the property is worth? And then out comes that we've got a CMA, and we have some idea whether or not that's realistic. That's where the conversation starts. Isn't that where you would start the conversation, or would you?
Well, again, we're popping into a role play. I start the conversation.
I got it, yeah.
I start the listing presentation by, where would you like to begin?
Okay, all right, fair enough. Yeah.
Because it's not my book, it's his book.
I guess most people want to start by having you tell them
Me,
what they think.
no, that's your tape. That's your tape. Just be careful. People don't, and you may be right. I'm just saying. Okay, so from a multiple offer standpoint, do you want multiple offers? You want maximum return on your equity? Multiple offers is not a sign of putting more money in your pocket. It's a sign of underpricing. Y'all got that?
Mhm.
So you want multiple offers, or do you want to put the most money you can in your
I'm
pocket?
gonna put the most money I can in my pocket.
Then therefore, multiple offers will only, you know when you have multiple offers, you know what that means.
Did you price it too low?
No, that you price it too low. So you want multiple offers, we can start at $1. Now, you see where I'm going with that. What I'm attempting to do now is going a little bit sideways. You don't have to take the time to do it. I'm doing my best to, what is the one thing? How can we do business? I passed the fit test. He said yes. So now it has to come down to money.
Did he also say quickly?
Maybe. I didn't hear that.
I did say, quickly, I don't want a bunch.
I make stuff up.
I don't want a bunch.
Thought I
of
heard.
water.
So anyway, you want to add anything to that, John?
No, I think the points to take away from this is like Denny said, he's kind of backing him into a corner with every question. He's gonna move here, he's gonna kind of move far, and keep pushing him back to get to the one point that's gonna say, yeah, I will make a decision and I will move forward based on this. And when people say price and commission, what do they mean?
They want the most money.
Most money in their pocket.
Thank you, it's net, okay? They have a correlation, this is a hint for one of the future role plays coming up here. They have a correlation that price and commission relate to net. They don't. Net relates to the quality of the age of the tire. Bottom line, seller says, I want to net $2 million on my property. It's awesome, I can sell it for 10 million, am I gonna get paid 8 because you netted your 2? So you laugh, but there are ways of handling that commission objection that is just as ridiculous as listed for 3.5%. The biggest takeaway, you guys, I know some of you wrote it down already, set expectations and not prices. When I joined Denny a little over a year ago, the first thing he said is don't ever set a price on a house.
So let's go back to the conversation. 'Cause I know it's not formal. Let's go back to the market analysis, okay? And so let's say you press me on what I'm going to list it for, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you. Have you made the decision to hire me to be your listing agent? Have you made that decision? Provided we get together and agree on price, have you made the decision to hire me?
I have not.
And what I listed that, it's not relevant, is it? So what information do you need from me to suggest that I'm the right agent for you?
That's good.
Well, let's say yes.
And Denny, can I just interject something right here? Follow that. If you ask them, if we can agree on price today, will you move forward? They say no. The price conversation is out the window. Does not matter what you tell them.
Well, because I'm going back to what I said about the fairness of interviewing the other two agents.
Right, and that's why,
Off the script, the role playing, do you prefer to go in first, last, or middle, or it doesn't matter to you?
First, most people hire the first agent.
it's almost 80% of listings are taken by the first agent in the door.
Are there some diminishing returns on that conversation? In other words, I like you, I want to hire you, but I'm curious as to what other people might say to me. So it seems to me maybe you could overwork that, trying to make sure that you get the decision right away.
Well, all right, let's take a minute and do that. So I guess, so you still want to meet with the other agents?
Yes.
Okay.
My inclination is to hire you, but I'd like to see if there's anything I can learn from the other agents.
I'm going to give you a magic wand. What could they possibly tell you that would make you want to go with someone else? And by the way, I never ask you. I don't really care. I don't care. It's okay if you do. I leave that out because they're uncomfortable telling me anyway, probably. I don't fight that battle. So what could you possibly hear from someone else?
Possibly a different strategy on how they could succeed in getting a higher price in this market.
Okay, anything else? In a higher price strategy, you're talking about higher price than what you want, correct?
No.
Then I'm puzzled.
Or puzzled.
I'm puzzled.
But if they have some other ideas on how they can market the property, advertise it in different places, find buyers that otherwise you might want to find.
So what you're saying is you think that another agent can basically look at past Powerball winners and have some sort of compilation.
Okay, you're hard, forget it.
That's true, like some people want you to advertise in,
Well, this
The
market,
New York
this
Times or
market, it
something
doesn't
like
much
that,
have,
you know?
it used to be that marketing and advertising were important, but they're not so important.
And if you want to start, we'll go on to something else. You want to start with a market analysis and find, here's the things, here's your past sales. What your name is?
Terry.
Terry, what is your expectation? The past sales are showing you anywhere from 770 to 800. What was your expectation? What did you want?
Okay, I'm flexible. I mean, if you think there might be another way to start.
No, this is fine. All right, that's
Okay.
fine. That's you're saying you showed past sales. What's your expectation? What do you want the market to deliver for you?
Before I show them past sales, I probably ask, what do you think the property is worth? That's probably how it is.
Okay, I want 1 million.
Okay, and then we open up and say, well, past sales have showed it's not probably gonna get, show, the analysis shows maybe 800,000.
Okay, so if you're okay with this, most markets, yes, not this one.
Yes, so the market's a hot market, so, maybe we'll go higher. Have some discussion, if ultimately if the seller really wants to list it, they want to list it for something unrealistic, I'm probably gonna say, I'm probably not your guy, I don't want to waste my time. On the other hand, maybe we can go a little high and see if we can get the market, see if we can get there. I don't know, I mean,
Not to blame the firm. Again, if you want to write another little Dennyism up there, I don't walk away from any listing in this market. I take the listing.
okay,
Remember, I said, I didn't say it sell. That's what they want, let the market say no. How many people have been surprised by this market? Yes,
Quick question. I've been on the other side of that. I had a house in Nashville recently, sold it like in 2019. Bought it, had it for 3 years, and I had a certain price one, and I needed to sell it fast. So I went to my agent that I bought the house through, and he like, no, you're never gonna sell it for that. And I want to sell at the top of the market because I knew Nashville's just going up.
right.
So I fired him. Hate to say that, but it's like I'm telling you from a consumer, like I've done it. I hired another person who said, if that's what you want, I can't guarantee you're gonna get it. And I said, I know you, but you're giving me the opportunity to reach. And I sold the house at the top of the market in my neighborhood. But it's, as you know, that was 20 years
that
ago.
can work, but if you want to ask $1 million for a house, and we're thinking comps from
So-
800,000 range, you really think you're gonna get to $1 million?
Let's play this out.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to stay on the seller. You be the seller, you want $1 million.
Okay, I want $1 million. Tell me I can't get it.
No problem. If we can agree on listing your property at $1 million today, are you ready to move forward?
Yes.
What happens if the market says no?
I'll wait out the market. We'll wait till it says yes.
And this
It's only going up.
is where you need to know motivation in this plans, because they will always use that same one. Okay. Now, you're aware when you put your home on the market, one of 3 things is gonna happen. You know what those 3 things are?
Does anybody know that? We talked about that.
We talk about this every single time.
That's efficient.
You're going fishing.
One of 3 things is gonna happen. They'll offer me asking price, listing price, they'll make a lower offer, or nothing will happen at all.
Well, yeah, but that's in reverse order, exactly.
Right.
So one of 3 things is gonna happen. We're gonna have little to no showings, which generally means that we're priced significantly out of the market. We're gonna have showings and no offers, which means we're probably fairly close. And the third one is gonna have an offer and your property's gonna sell. Which position do you want to be in?
That's your listing price. That's my listing price.
No. What position do you want to be in? 1, 2, or 3? Do you want little to no showings? Which outcome do you want to be in?
So
Okay, so you want to be in outcome 3. What happens if $1 million is outcome number 1? How will that affect your plans?
I'll get you to wait until the market comes up to $1 million.
Okay, and if it doesn't,
Yes, I won't be selling.
then you make a decision. Now, is it unrealistic to think you can get 10, 15, 20% more than what a CMA on old data says in this market?
No,
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's, no, 15 or 20%, no.
So like happening.
How old is the CMA? A year
First of all,
old, 6 months old? I mean,
It doesn't matter.
2 weeks is old in this market.
So, I mean, just let's move on to something else. The bottom line for me is that, I don't, you know, I don't set prices on it. So again, I just, the market analysis is historical data. And we don't know what it's going to sell for in this market. I mean, I'm surprised all the time, right? So I don't walk away from any listing. And the interesting thing, and you guys talked about this, what if somebody doesn't want to sell because they don't want to buy in an upward moving market? No. Have you heard that?
Better market conditions, that's the one we wrote down.
I'd like to sell, but I don't want to pay the prices that homes are going for it.
Okay, so you guys get first, you can be that seller, Jeff. You can be that seller, and so you get the first crack at it, follow the model. Take 30 seconds, decide who's going to do it, and see if someone can walk them through that little minefield. You guys get ready, you'll have rebuttal on
I'm
who's
just
going
gonna
to take.
make a statement.
Speaker?
No, Jeff is.
Otherwise, if you're gonna make a statement, that's it, right?
So,
You can make it time.
participate in the anymore.
Oh,
Would you rather just-
Jeff, our call's at 3, right?
You said it for 2.
Oh, he did?
There you go. There you go.
Are we ready? Are we ready? You got 3 minutes.
Know what he wants to buy.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Here.
Are we ready?
Maybe Michelle's doing it. Michelle's gonna do it.
Michelle, here we go, Michelle. Yes,
3 minutes.
all right, state the objection one more time.
Okay, well, you show me that I have a lot of equity in my home that I can sell at the top of the market, but then I'm gonna have to buy at the top of the market. So a lot of my equity is gonna be spent paying more than I feel like paying for a house.
I know, I came in the middle, so I have to acknowledge, okay. No, I totally get that. Isolate. This is my first time. Hold on. Isolate. Other than that, what? Like, I just feel, okay, so if you have all that equity.
Other than that, is there any reason you won't move forward?
Is there any reason why you won't move forward?
No. You can explain to me how I can take my equity and
There you go.
find a property to buy that has good value. I'm interested.
So about your house, is there something that's not in your house that you'd like to see somewhere else, a different neighborhood, or maybe upgrades or newer?
One question at a time.
Oh,
No, she's going to motivation, which is the right move. Just, you ask a question, you don't want your list.
Is there something else in another property that I'd like? I'd like to have an office. So I work on my house quite a bit now, and I don't have an office. I'm working in a corner of my bedroom.
so that's uncomfortable for you, and this is definitely on one of your wish lists, so.
No, he didn't say it was uncomfortable.
Well, it's, he did say.
No.
He was there.
He didn't say it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, he said- Tiny.
You gotta use the words. You're putting your words on it.
Okay,
He never said uncomfortable.
okay, tiny, so you have a tiny office.
I don't have an office.
You don't have an office, you have the space
I'd like to have
that's
an
tiny, you like to have an office.
So how will that make you feel when you have an office?
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Now he's gonna tell you, all right, so now, don't put your feelings in his
Right, right.
situation.
Okay.
I'd like to have an office.
Okay, well, with this market, I know it's, maybe
Uh,
short. Oh,
That's a
any
statement.
questions?
You got 40 seconds.
Take the lead.
So here's the interesting thing, look, the natural thing is you want to fix something.
Yes,
Correct.
You can't fix something until they know they're sick.
So
You can't cure it. Go
You
ahead.
gotta give me features and benefits that would make me want to move,
yeah,
that make me not want so
Right.
sensitive to the price of moving, right?
Okay, how would you do that? Then you take focus.
She started.
Then
She started. start to say, well, is there something that you would like to have in another home that you don't have now? Yes, I'd like to have a den, or I'd like to have a pool. Okay, now you've taken me away from pure price to features that I might be able to find in another, I ran out of time again.
So we're starting over. So I would ask a question. You're gonna sell your house right now for more money than you ever thought possible, right?
But I don't want to overpay.
So that means you're gonna sell.
You're right, the market you buy in is the market, the market you sell.
So your choice is, do you want to sell high and buy high? Do you want to sell high and buy low? You want to sell low and buy low? What do you want to do?
Obviously, you'd like to sell high and buy low.
Okay. Sell what?
Sell high.
When is when? Now. And then if you sell now, do you have to buy now? Could you go to a temporary spot, maybe that has an office, and you can wait for the market to be more favorable?
Absolutely.
Boom.
Well, I don't want to move, you know, I mean, you could.
Well, all
I
right.
go there, but I mean, two outlets there. Number one, can I find some features and benefits in the new house that I don't have now? That would take away my sensitivity to price. Or number two, go to an interim location and wait for the market to come back. So both are good. Both are either
But
option.
right now, if you buy something right now, the market's still going up, so you're adding equity as you buy something now, it's not the top of the market.
I was just gonna ask the question, is that, because it seems like it's a reality here that, you know, that you could sell high right now, but you're gonna pay high. Temporary housing, is that being seen much?
Yes.
Some people will take that option, right? I mean, some people don't want to do it. I don't want to move twice. I don't want the hassle of moving, you know? But then you could do your post-closing occupancy. Would you stay there for 3 months or 6 months and see what happens to the market?
What I was attempting to do is get Jeff into the seller. I'm not worried about the buying side, right? I want him to come to the realization is now is the time to take advantage of the market. To sell.
And there are options for me.
Yeah.
It's something, it's really difficult to present this to a seller, this concept. But Jeff, let's walk through it. When you bought your house, how much did you put down?
20%.
Okay, so you, which is what number, dollar wise?
$50,000.
$50,000, okay, great. So you invested $50,000 in this property. You're gonna buy another property, right? You're gonna take your $50,000 investment, and you're just gonna move it over to this other property.
Or more. But I think
Well, you're 50 plus the equity you built, and you're gonna move it over to this other property. You're really just transferring an investment from one asset to another asset to be able to gain what you really want, which is the office and the man cave and the pool and laundry list, everything that they say.
and the appreciation. That's a good point. It's going to appreciate.
I use that example because when sellers are stuck on this, they're looking at price. It's not the price. They have an initial investment that they made into an asset, and it's transferring that investment from one asset to another asset. It's transferring from, 20 shares of Verizon to a quarter share of Tesla. Whatever it is, it's just moving an asset from one location to another. Think that way. It's very difficult to express to a seller. You really can't, but just understand that you need to have the mindset. All they're doing is taking an asset from one place to another
For
place.
an analytical.
Yeah, not everybody thinks that way.
Yeah,
that's
true. That's true.
An analytical.
That's why I said, don't present it to a
I know, I
seller.
mean, that's John, though. That's the way he processes.
Yeah,
Me too.
But I
It's
think
what
a lot of
process too.
I
It's
still
hard.
run into a lot of people like that. They do. I mean, if
You
bring
run
it
into an
down,
accountant,
they're
that's
thinking
how
they're
you
getting a
say it.
bigger house.
So for an analytical, that's great.
Yeah.
And you're showing them that all I'm doing is moving my assets.
Taking it out of this bucket and putting it in this bucket. No, by the way, this bucket has a pool and an office.
Getting a new car, that's
That's
right.
right. Denny, do you have any thoughts about where the market is going?
Yes, that's right. That's what I was gonna
I was gonna
say.
say,
It's, Collier County had an increase of 29% last year in median sales price. That can't continue. So I still see demand being strong. You know what the leading segment was in sales in Collier County?
High,
Define high,
over 2 million.
over 5 million.
That was the median price.
No, it's the Uber luxury market is what's moving. What's happening is, I believe, we're seeing in Lee County and Collier County, a soft ceiling being formed on the bread and butter market.
The normal people's house.
Right. People coming from, Maryland or Chicago or Boston, Naples is still cheap. And when you look at, I think probably close to 200%, the $5 million property sales last year were up over 200%. That's driving the market, but it's not going to continue. The 30% growth will not continue. The demand will still be there because there's a lot of crazy states and people are still locking down states and people will be here. So I think you're going to see the median sales price slow and something more rational. That's going to lead to what we had in the last year and a half is shadow sellers. Shadow sellers didn't want to be on the market because of COVID. Now, the number one reason sellers don't want to be on the market is they can sell, but they're afraid they're not going to find a place to buy.
So it shifted from the COVID environment to.
We can handle that. That is the number one across the country. We have a national thing on Thursdays. People, that's the number one objection seller out of right now. And that's what we're coming up with, the golden seller program. Now it's going to be parallel with buyers. There's more and more data out there saying that the market is slowing. We've had 6 or 7 months in a row of falling sales. You all realize that, right?
Unit sales, not price.
Everybody's, we look month this year versus last year, but you track the month over month stats. They're not this way, but they're trending now.
Well, it's because we came from an insane year. When you look at 19, which is our last rational year, we're double digits above 19. However, the media is showing falling sales. You're going to see softening prices. What do you think that the buyer wants? What do you think the number one objection the buyer has right now? I don't want to step out. Overpaying, and the market's going to go. So those are the two objections you've got to be able to handle. Who wants to? Let's take a minute. We have a call too.
Before you do that, could you said earlier that you would go in first.
Yes.
And you're established and you got a very, very reputable name and you're a superstar. Does that affect you going in first and then not worried about who your competition is behind you? When you said you're going first and you're getting a list and you're signing. Can you explain a little more on that?
Well, I have the mindset, and mindset is everything. I have the mindset that I'm free to the seller, so no one can beat free. I have 5 guarantees. Guarantee I can sell it for the most money possible. Guaranteed if I can't sell it, I'll buy it. Guaranteed if the buyer buys it, it's unhappy, we'll sell it for them free. I think you're doing one that way now.
Yeah, and actually I've got 2 of them.
Yeah, we're taking a $5 million listing for I always forget the other one. But anyway, so when I go in, I'm not a superstar. I mean, they don't think I'm a superstar and I don't come across like a superstar. I'm just very confident in my value proposition that I'm free to a seller. So
Great strategy.
I'm sorry?
I mean, it's a great strategy, yeah.
So if I can show you that working with us costs you nothing, would you work with us?
Let's go. Sign up to that.
Perfect. That's how you overcome.
There's no commission objection. You can't. There is one thing, and this is my painter story, that if a painter would knock on your door, you want to get your house painted, and you say, look, I'm a reputable painter. I'll tell you what I'll do. Every year I give away a painting job. You have to be a lucky person. Publishers Clearinghouse, I'm going to paint your house for free. No catches. Reputable. Here's my references. Would you let the painter do it?
Absolutely.
What if you won the super duper grand prize? So the painter said, I'll tell you what, I'm not even going to paint your house for free. I'm going to pay you $2,000 to let me paint it for free. Would you take it, the painter on one?
Feel bad for the painter.
Yeah.
I would take it.
And the seller thinks you're going to sell it themselves. So a seller says, no, I'm just gonna paint my house myself. So can you articulate to a potential seller that you are free to? What do we cost to sell?
Hopefully you're making money for
Well, okay, so what do we cost to seller? What's the normal commission?
it. Let's say, I don't know, 6%, I guess.
Okay, well, then half that's going to a buyer, right? So what's then the typical, and again, don't make Jeff freak out here.
So 3%.
We say 2.5%, 3%, right? So can you walk them through, like, I'm gonna sell it myself? Now, here's the thing, how many sellers say, no, I don't need you in this market, I can sell it myself? What will you say? Yeah,
I guarantee you I can sell it for more than you
Well, start with the model.
can. Oh, excuse me.
Of course you can sell it yourself.
Because the market's hot and it seems like there's no issue at all to sell it. Why would you need my help?
okay, so, right, I mean, anyone can give it away, how much money will you be leaving on the table? Right?
For 30,000, since it's $1 million house, you're gonna pay me $30,000 commission. I can get you, probably get you $50,000 or $100,000 more. That's an easy value proposition. You may have to be analytical to understand that one. That's the argument.
Well, then I'll just list it at $1 million more myself.
And find why. Because you don't have access to the MLS. You don't have access to.
Zillow.
Huh?
Zillow, everyone watches Zillow.
So let's take a second and.
So listen
No,
to
they
how,
don't.
listen to how to work through
Okay,
this.
sorry.
No, it's okay. Just listen to how he models this.
Well, I was just gonna take a buyer. I don't wanna step into this market because it's, I think the market's gonna change. Somebody take that. Who wants it?
Who's got buyers they're working with now that are saying that?
All right, so what's your conversation?
But where do you really want to be?
So, okay, so I'm the buyer, right? And you're the agent?
Yes, I understand
That's exactly how Kristen sounded the first time I asked her out. All right, so, yeah, I don't want to overpay.
Well, other than that, what do you like in our area?
I like it. I mean, I've lived here 40 years.
Okay. What would be holding you back?
I don't want to overpay.
Now I'm stuck. What do you mean by overpaying?
See? Want a friend, always want a friend. Well, I don't want to overpay. I mean, hey, I don't want to overpay. Our market's crazy right now, and I can just see, you know, let's go Brandon, the market's going to tank, right?
What do you mean by what do you mean by overpaying?
I pay and then the market goes down. I mean, I pay a price, super inflated, and then the market goes down.
I certainly could accept that as a possible fear, but what conditions do you know of that the market's going to go down?
Over time, it does go down, right?
Again, I accept your platitude, but I don't see that in any of the numbers that I presented to you. And I honestly don't think that, is that really something that you're worried about?
Now, you almost went down the road.
I started to, but I got it.
So, no, what did he catch himself doing?
Making statement.
Not only that, predicting the future. Who knows what the market's going to do? They're going to go
No rum
down.
drinks here, Denny.
I'm sorry?
No rum drinks here. Nobody's that good.
No, I mean, so I'm afraid right now if I step in, there's a solution to this if you just think about it.
If you're afraid, let me understand what you just said. You're afraid that if you step in, that you might lose value, that the market will go down and you'd be owning an asset that was worth less.
Yes. How are you getting?
You could use historical data. You could say that
Keep asking questions.
over the past 20 years, what's happened to property values over the last 20 years in Collier County?
I'm sure they've gone up considerably. They've probably been up and down.
But overall, over the last 20 years,
What about
what's happened to property values in Collier County?
Probably trending up.
So my question to you is, if over the last 20 years, property values in Collier County have gone up, would your property value go up over a period of time if you bought it today?
You don't seem to be really concerned about what my time frame is.
Because I understand what you're saying, but I just don't see anything in the.
What's missing? What's missing?
How long do you plan to keep this home?
Not only that, where am I living now?
Yeah.
So let me reverse it. So let me ask, do you own or rent right now, Jeff?
Oh, I own right
Okay, and so now you've watched the values go up, right? And you don't want to, you're saying you don't want to buy, you said you wanted an office
now. Okay,
and a pool, right?
but if I own right now, you got me.
We got you, you rent too.
So,
Change it to rent, change it to rent.
so I rent right now, but I really would like to own some.
Okay, and so how long have you been renting?
3 years.
And how long have you been thinking about wanting to step in the market? You've been a little bit, here is how you're gonna trap them. When did you have the first thought of maybe taking advantage of the market?
2 years ago.
And if you'd have done it 2 years ago and looked at it right now, would you have been the winner or loser?
A winner.
And is there a possibility that maybe that you might, in another year or two, will face that same piper and the houses will continue to go up for the next 2 years and you're watching your rents go up and property values go up, right?
Correct.
How would you feel if you wait 2 more years and now you have to buy a smaller house or you can't afford a house?
Really bad.
So what's the greater pain?
The greater pain is that I stay on the sidelines.
Right, and so when you do step in, how long are you gonna own? This is where you need to go, this is where you were going. Oh, are you buying to step in and flip, or are you gonna own it for a while?
I would own it for a while.
So any small fluctuations in the market won't really matter.
That's right. You're right. I didn't think of it that way.
So do you know what they call this market?
Seller's market.
No, they don't. Some people do. I call it a winner's market.
But that's really good.
It's a winner's market because sellers win. However, as soon as the buyers lock in a price, they start riding the safe equity elevator up that the sellers are riding. Wouldn't that be fun? So are you ready to take advantage of the winner's market?
I never thought of it that way.
Get on that elevator.
Anyway, public, John, you go wherever you want to go. We've got to call it 2, so we got time for like 1 or 2 more minutes.
So,
Good job, Jeff.
you guys have something over here you wanted to cover? That we may not have. Who's come up with, this is just a fun one, because I've come up with a whole bunch of times. I've got an agent, my cousin.
Cousin Denny. Yeah, all right.
My cousin Denny.
Awesome. We haven't even done the commission objection. That's a good one.
I did have that.
Okay, so let's do the commission objection, then we can fire Vinny later.
This was interesting. So, my nephew today, they wanted to sell their house, and I said, I would love to decorate everything. And she's like, well, my brother's a realtor, So I was like, okay. She goes, well, you know the market pretty well. What are you thinking? Like, if you come over, look at my house. I said, you know what? I know you. I've been to the CMA for you. I'll make it really short. So I did that, presented it. She used her brother. She now has another place. And guess what? I said, do you want me to do that report for you? That was great. She goes, but instead of using my brother, I want you to have the listing. Because I stayed with them, cultivated, whatever. So it can happen.
It can happen, and there's a great question when you're going to other, that's awesome. Most people down here have a family member in the real estate business.
Yeah.
Other than this being your brother, is there any other reason you wouldn't work with him?
I know.
Awesome. This is a difficult question. I just want you to consider this. Is your relationship with your brother strong enough to survive a bad transaction at Thanksgiving?
Yeah, that would be awkward.
Well, plus what does your brother do full time?
Not real estate.
Again, you're gonna set up, you're gonna tee up 80% of the licensees in Collier County by asking that question. What does this other agent do full time? You don't need to use that on the brother. That's for anyone. What do they do for a full-time job? Would you go to a part-time heart surgeon?
Okay, can I flip that around?
Yeah.
Because I'm dual, I'm a server, and so how would I fix that, fill that objection? You said, what do you do? Jill's a part-time agent.
So the first rule in Fight Club, okay, the first rule in scripts is don't ever set up a question that you're going to lose by asking. All
Well,
right.
no, but I mean, if they come and say to me.
Now, I remember from the last time I was down here, you just got your license, and yeah, you're working, I forget which restaurant it is, but you're working at one of the restaurants here, and your goal is to get out of there into here full-time. Okay, your intention is full-time. Your mindset is full-time. What does the other agent do for a living? I'm sure when Mike's got people out on the boat, what do you do for a living? I sell houses. I'm not a captain, I sell houses, right? Now, maybe he's a captain. So don't,
Okay,
you are transitioning into that point, which is a huge step that most people that are in this business part-time refuse to take.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. Most brothers that are in real estate part-time are not here in their time of studying and learning this market like you are, right? You are preparing like you're full-time.
trying, yeah.
That's what
No, I'm not trying to do that.
I
What's your database? Where did you get all your contacts?
get that, I mean, that is our database.
Yeah. So yeah, you know what? I'm a full-time real estate agent. I'm a part-time server because that's where I get my leads from.
Yeah, and then they know you're smart too.
Yeah.
So-
Got my license.
The commission objection. Let's play that one through. All right, who feels they can be a really tough seller?
Bruce can.
Because Denny is gonna be the one handling it.
Let's do it.
All right, Bruce, come up here. All right,
You have a seat,
You got
Bruce?
this, Bruce.
This is a chance for you to get it.
Can we take?
here we go. Okay. So are you ready to move forward today, Bruce?
You know, Denny, I don't know that I am. I think your commissions are just too high for me to pay.
I understand, other than commissions being too high for you, any other reason we're not going to do business today?
Well, you know, I've already told you that I'm going to interview two others. I'm a man of my commitments, so I'm going to do that.
You look at the clock, right?
We role played that already.
So that's all right, all right, so you're going to interview two other agents. Other than that, what else is keeping you from hiring me to get your home sold?
You know, nothing, Denny. I want to make sure I make the most amount on my property, and your commission's standing in the way right now.
And what would my commission have to be in order for us to do business right now?
I need you to be at 3%, Denny.
3% from the listing standpoint?
Mm-hmm.
And what are we going to pay the buyers?
That's up to you. In fact, maybe their agent would pay their commission.
So you just want us to pay a 3% listing fee?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. You ready to move forward then?
I still got to interview these other folks. I don't know that you could do that, can you?
If I were to do it at 3%, it's a listing fee. Buyers agents have to pay their own fee. If I'm willing to do that right now, are you ready to move forward with me?
What can you do to guarantee that I get the best price possible?
So now we talk about price now, or are we talking about a fee? And so what is your expectation on price?
6-figure walk away.
Well, there's a lot of six figures out there. So what six figures are you referring to?
200,000 plus in equity.
Well, just give me the number, because everyone knows. What is the number?
I wouldn't want to walk away from the table no less than 275,000 in my pocket.
Okay, 275,000 net, right?
Yeah.
That's your closing costs. Your real estate.
Walk out the door, that's check in hand.
Okay. And so if we were to list at that number, and would you be ready to move forward with me today?
there's no guarantees in this business, as we all know, so. I don't know, how can you guarantee that that will happen?
So you want a listing agent to guarantee you a number.
If you're that great, then can you?
Somebody who is going to guarantee you Powerball on Saturday night, what would you say?
I'd take them up on that.
Would you? So basically someone's guaranteeing they can predict the future. Is that somebody you would trust?
If they have a track record, I could do that. I could trust them.
Well, there's no one out there that has a track record of predicting Powerball, correct?
That's true.
And so my question is, if somebody's going to guarantee you, basically would be lying to you to get your business, would that be a profession you want to hire?
I don't believe so, no.
So you're kind of slipping and sliding. And so I'll do it one more time, then I want to get into a commission, straight commission. So again, 275, walk away. And if you don't have to take one penny less, are you ready to move forward today?
I think I can do that.
So I'm going to take the list. I'm not fighting all those other battles. Okay? I'm 3%. You'll have to get the buyer's agent pay on the fee.
Yeah, could you touch on that, because I can heard.
Yeah.
That is actually happening out there. There are people that want to do that.
So what's the scenario? I don't, like, crazy brain that doesn't.
So there's a co-broke zero.
People
So,
will bring you
so
money.
the buyer says, okay, I'm gonna pay you $30,000 to write this contract and negotiate the deal.
It's happening in marketplaces out there. They're not taking any co-brokes. It's not here. It's not a real. Here's the bottom line is I'm going to take the listing and I'm going to get my compensation. You'll never see that here, although it does take place in different marketplaces out there where you have to go to California. You have to get your own co-broke from the buyer.
First time I did that was 1992 up in Boston.
Oh. Now, let's just say commission. Let's keep it simple. All right, so are you ready to do it? Are ready to move forward, Bruce?
Yeah, I mean, can you put that in writing?
What didn't write?
The 3% commission?
Let's get off that.
Okay.
So let's just go back to someone said they do it for less.
Yeah, so, have interviewed 2 other brokers and both of them are willing to do it for less than the 6% that you mentioned.
And how much less?
I don't know that I would want to share that with you.
Well, I mean, so what number does it have to, what number do we have to do, agree to right now for us to move forward?
What's the best you can do?
Free.
Free sounds good.
Yeah.
So how would you get paid at free?
Free, not free.
Free, yeah.
So if basically you have a number that those other people said that they could do it for, right?
Mhm.
And so it's, what is their number? What is their fee and what did they say they listed for?
Well, I think the number that you told me that you can list it for is the same as theirs. It is. It's the exact same number listing price. Yet they can do it for 4% where you're asking for 6.
Okay, so first of all, I didn't get it. I don't give numbers. So is that the number you want to list it at?
No higher than that.
Okay, got it. And so at the 4%, did they come in at 6? What you want to find out, all right? So every potential buyer or seller is a ball bearing, just huge. And there's no handles on it. You've got to question till you find handles. Because they're just slippery. So let me ask you then, did they come in at 6% and then because you're proud of this, you asked them to lower their commission and they lowered it, or are they a 4% model?
4% model.
I got that. And so the 4%, how much of that are they keeping as a listing agent? How much are they paying towards the buyer's fee?
They said they would split it even. 2%, 2%.
2%, okay. And so let me ask you then, did they also tell you basically what the norm is in our area as far as what the typical compensation is for buyer's agents?
I've kind of gathered that from friends of mine that have sold recently and agents that they use. They're standard, pretty standard at 5. So it looks like I'm doing better than they did.
Well, that's true. There, I would get 2% to sell your listing. I get 2.5 or 3% to sell somebody else's listing. That doesn't bother you.
No, it doesn't bother me what you get paid.
No, I have a buyer that wants to buy your home. Would you think more buyers would want to look at your house or other houses out there that are paying more?
I think it would depend on the agent. I think agents sometimes are greedy and they may shift to the other side.
I got it. So let me ask you, are you more concerned about what you pay in fee or what you net at the end of the transaction?
Well, I think everybody's smart. They want to net the most.
Okay, and can you see sometimes by you paying 4%, you may not net as much?
That's not necessarily true, because your price and their price was exactly the same. So in this case, I would.
Okay, and so however, if they're basically based on a discount model, which means they're probably sell fast, close fast, instead of sell high, can you see how that might work against you? For example, can I tell you a quick story?
Sure.
Now I'm gonna tell the story. You're gonna have a story, don't make it up. Know your numbers. 2 other agents met with the same seller, they said 300,000. And you know what? I looked at the market, I said, no, I think we could do better than that. So we listed it for 350,000, we sold it for 350,000, we put $50,000 more in the seller's pocket. Now, again, they could have paid 4%, they made $50,000 less. But they paid me 2% more and pocketed the 50 grand. Did they make a good decision?
Yeah, they did.
How would you like that to happen for you?
That would be awesome, except for the fact that you told me the same price they did.
No, I wouldn't have never done that. I would never have given you a price, ever.
Okay.
And that's one of the problems you get into by giving a price. Now, what's your difference from manage?
So what do you give them if you're not giving them a price? You give them range or you just not go there?
I can tell you the question. It's just like this. I can tell you where Powerball numbers were on Saturday, last Saturday. And I can tell you that, basically the market's going up. So I don't know where the data points will be. What's your expectation? What do you want for the home?
So they gave you a price and then you agree. What do you do with that? You just keep that information and.
So if we were to, so you basically went 750, right? So if we were to list at 750 today, are you ready to move forward?
So you just want that signature?
No,
No?
it's not that way. I'm not fighting the battle on something I don't know the answer to.
I see.
You guys think you know the value of the home, you don't.
So that kind of equates to, on the flip side, when you're working for a buyer, which I've used because of this class, where when you're talking about an offer, it's the same thing as with the seller coming up to that number, is that we can never tell our buyers what to offer. We can give them all the
Right.
information out there, but ultimately it has to come from them, what's their comfort level, what they're, and it's kind of the same thing, right? Just
If they're unrealistic, and they can be unrealistic, and John said it, said, okay, what are you gonna do if the market says no at that number? I never have my fingerprints on it, ever. I never say yes, no, and
they
select it.
can't blame you.
There's one of 3 things that'll happen if the market says no, what are you gonna do? I'm just saying, listen, in this particular market, I've turned down sellers, and because I know that, like I did my market analysis, I added 10 or 15%. Hey, listen, we used to laugh at people using this estimate, right? Now people are using this estimate, multiplying by their cholesterol, and that's what. So why are you guys fighting that battle? You don't know what it's going to sell for. And you know what? I can tell you 1 of 3 things will happen when you list it. John went through that scenario perfectly. And if you want the fishing sheet, just email us. We'll send you the fishing sheet and add it to your repertoire, because there's only 3 things that can happen. So I would have never given you a number, ever,
But when he's signing a contract with you, it has a number on it.
right? So what number do you want for the home?
Right. So yeah, I'm a, I think $1 million. I like the number that they gave me. I'll list it $1 million.
I got it. And so if you could, what if the market would give, pay more than that?
I'd love to take it. Absolutely.
Right? So where would you like to begin?
Let's go $1.3 million.
Okay, awesome. Shake hands, knock the ball. What are you gonna do if the market says? Well, he has to get to Orlando because his wife's got a job, right? Whatever the motivation is, sooner or later that will get you. So
And then there's another simple line we use to cover commission objections, especially, hey, you know what, they'll do it at 4, you want 6. And typically a seller will say, I want 4% because I want to save some money. We all heard that? Awesome. So, you know, Bruce, I hear you say you want to save some money. I can appreciate that. Let me ask you, do you like to save money or make money?
I like to make money.
John, finish it up.
All right. So how many times have you tried to save money it's cost you?
There's been a couple times. Yeah. Mhm. My wife more than me.
Is this one of those times?
No, I think it's different.
You think it's different? Why is that?
It's a house, not a KitchenAid appliance.
Sure, it's a house and houses are in high demand now, aren't they? So this is again, going back to why you never give price, because now we just turn around and spend it. You are basing your net off of a price that you've been given. Is that fair?
Sure, I mean, there was information to validate what he showed me.
Yeah, absolutely. He showed you stuff that happened in the past. Or did he show you stuff?
That plus what's currently on the market listed, right?
Okay. So I'm gonna give you a quick graph, guys, but you can use this in
By the way, I'm trying to be hard. So.
in any market, all right? In any market. So Bruce, let me ask you, do you think right now, in the market that we're in, that the market is working for you or it's a seller?
As a seller, I definitely have the favor in my pocket.
Okay, wonderful. And the agents that came up with pricing, they kind of gave you some numbers here, right? This line, by the way, is today. Okay, and this is top dollar. So they gave you prices here in a market that's doing this.
And there's some that are active and, some people just shoot for the moon and whatever. And so there's some outliers in those numbers.
You're gonna have some outliers, but the ones that they're relying on for pricing is what happened last month or 2 months ago. You said the market's working in your favor, right?
Right.
Where's it gonna be at this point, do you think?
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
It could level off, it could go up, who knows?
Yeah, it could, right? So if you're here and top dollar is here, what have you done?
It could bring more interest and drive the price up in a bidding war, possibly.
Yeah, terrific. And how many bidding wars have you heard about where the person got 100% top dollar?
I think it's a cash market. There's a lot of those happening right now. They'll list it and then, somebody outbids the other and get a little bit more.
Yeah, the buyer won, right? Did the seller win?
Yeah, got a higher price for the property.
Did they get it? Top dollar. See, this is the reason why you never turn down prices. You can always start here, right? It's a lot easier to come down on a price with a seller than it is, we're underpriced. If you were to price it here along that trend line, you're gonna bid it up to probably somewhere in this area right here. You're not gonna get top dollar in a bidding war, ever. All you're gonna get is that pool of people, one person who outbid the other person. Guarantee you the person who won would have paid more.
So do you recommend we go 15% above what we think is the top dollar?
If we go 15% above what we think is top dollar, are you ready to go today with everything we've talked about?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, done. But never, ever, this is easiest thing to teach in this class is never give price. Because every time you do, you shoot yourself in the foot. Quick takeaways. I know it's 2 o'clock. Bruce, you want to call?
Questions only.
Questions only. Excellent.
Well, you said something about an email getting some scripts or.
Okay, so-
How do I get that?
Email me,
Okay,
jon@dennygrimes.com. And I will send out that simple one-page graph, 3 outcomes.
Okay.
All right, it's a guy in a boat fishing. You should like.
it in my listing
Yeah,
I have it in my book.
it works great. Very easy for sellers to understand.
It's probably, I'm sorry, what's it called, just like an email to you? So that's efficient.
Fishing sheet.
Thank you.
What else did you take away from today, guys?
So that I think,
Glad you came too.
yeah, I mean, the prices are awesome.
How about just the simple formula of acknowledge, isolate, address,
Yes,
close?
yes.
You haven't earned the right to address until you know what you're addressing. Anybody here make cold calls or spend a lot of time prospecting on the phone?
I want to. I'm afraid to.
Even when you're face to face with somebody, same rules can apply. Now, I have
Yeah, tell me that, because I do that all day
five
long.
thumbtacks on my desk when I'm making phone calls. They come up with an objection. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was it played? Thumbtack number 1. 5 deep. I don't go on to the next topic until I've at least gone 5 deep, because you will find that a seller's objection is never the first thing they tell you. Make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I learned a lot.
I'm glad you do.